Hey, what's up, everybody? Hey, it's JMO here. Going to be having another video here today with my friends. If you guys haven't already subscribed, please go ahead and do. Make sure you hit that bell button. I know it's just your standard YouTube video, but let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So, all right, guys. So basically, what we got here is we got all the drivers from 2022, and we're round 7 going into Monaco. And what we're going to do as a team of 3, myself, Blake, and Toast, are going to rate each one of these drivers, all 20 of them, where they're at as a driver right now in 2022. That way we can do a reflection video at the end of the year and kind of recap this and do the exact same thing of where we think how they ended the season. Does that kind of make sense? Blake, Toast, everybody cool?
Yeah.
All right, so who do you guys want to start with? Should we start with Albano?
Yeah, let's go in order.
All right. All right, Albano.
A.
First A driver.
He's not an A driver.
I think he is outperforming that Williams so far.
Okay.
I have to agree. I think Albon is probably up there. I think he's underrated. His time at Red Bull, I don't think anybody ever really gave him a chance. And being Max's teammate has cracked so many people. I think Checo is just he's like Max's dad's age. He's like you can't crack that guy. So we'll put Albano A. Fernando Alonso.
Sorry. He's had the worst luck so far.
S tier.
Hopefully he can turn it around.
C tier. I feel like he's A. Maybe he's not S. A.
Alright. I think he's B. His luck is terrible. If he would have got that qualifying Australia, if he wouldn't just haven't been on bad strategies, yeah, he'd been S. But so far he's B.
Okay,
so far.
Toast thinks he's C because.
I just pick C.
Okay, well then, so if I'm thinking he's A, Blake thinks he's B. Looks like he's going B on a unique average. Valtteri Bottas.
S. He's an S.
S? No way.
Yeah.
If he was S, he wouldn't be wearing an Alfa Romeo jersey right now. If he was an S tier driver,
He's doing good.
Really good in
He's
that
doing
car.
good.
yeah,
He
he's
has more points than Lewis Hamilton.
to him compared to what? Zhou Zhu or whatever, the pay driver compared to what? Yeah, Zhou Guan Yu.
It's not his fault.
Yeah, I get that, and I can kind of agree with that,
No,
but
put him A. I think he's
I
A.
don't. Okay, so are you saying that Valtteri Bottas is driving on the level of Max Verstappen?
No,
Because
I think
that's
he's
S
A.
class. S class is Max Verstappen.
Yes, so A.
A at best, and I think he should be B or below.
Pierre Gasly, D.
D. Pierre's been off, man. Pierre has been off because
He has
Yuki's
been
even
off.
out qualifying him. Yuki
Yuki's
showed up.
outperforming him.
I think he's D, not because he is a D driver, because he's putting in a D performance because he doesn't give a fuck anymore about. Yeah, he doesn't care. He doesn't want to be a part of Red Bull. He's mad that Checo didn't get kicked and that helmet's still picking him. Lewis Hamilton.
A.
A.
He's good, but the problem is if you're going to have your confidence shook up at the end of last week in Spain and you're going to want to quit just because you went in the gravel trap one time and you're like, let's just save the engine, dude. That's not what an S-Class driver would do. S-Class driver is going to get back on, head down, and just get back right to it. So Hulkenberg, this guy, I mean, yeah, this guy's, there's a reason he doesn't drive an F1 anymore. I don't care if you like the color of jersey he's wearing. If you guys didn't know, Toast is a ridiculous Aston Martin fan. She's just got a thing for dump trucks.
No. That's not true.
That is true. Latifi.
F. Just put him in F.
For sure.
Actually, he doesn't even deserve to be on the list.
Latifi.
Things like that.
If at the end of this year we have to rank Latifi again, I will be honestly surprised. I don't think he'll be on this list when we look back at this year. I think he's going to get dropped.
We'll be seeing Nick DeVries.
100%.
I can see that.
The problem is Dorrington Capital doesn't need daddy's money anymore. Dorrington Capital is a large investment firm that's got plenty of money. They don't need a pay driver. You got to earn your seat there. Charles Leclerc.
S.
S?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Charles Leclerc has had some unlucky streak, but he was leading the championship until last week.
K-Mag A.
K-Mag A. Jeez, K-Mag is
I'd say B.
Saying A. No, he's got Haas's first points in ages. He has 15 points.
yeah, but Haas has also built the first car worth a damn in ages.
Yeah, but he's still doing good. And he hasn't been in the sport in a year. He came back and got P5 in his first race back. I mean, that's
Toast, where do you think?
He has a good point. I say
Yeah, but he's still not doing anything special. I mean,
he's
these
doing as good as
so
Albon.
so Valtteri Bottas has clearly done things in the car that were unexpected. Lewis Hamilton drove P19 to P4 in Spain. Alex Albon is clearly doing things that Williams isn't capable of doing,
Right,
just
for
like George
P9.
did.
But K-Max
That's-
is getting the points.
K-Mag's doing good in a good car.
Really well.
Haas had more time to develop their car, more money, right? Or I guess maybe not more money. I guess everybody's affected by the same budget cap. But they had more CFD and more wind tunnel time than any other team. They should be fast. K. Magnussen is a driver with more experience than most drivers on the grid. He was dominant in DT1 or DTM. He's a good driver, but he's not doing anything special. Had you put somebody like, let's say, Max Verstappen, George Russell, Charles Leclerc in that car, I think you would see the same thing you saw when Charles Leclerc was in the Alpha here a few years ago. There's a reason he got promoted. There's a reason Max Verstappen got promoted. There's a reason George Russell went from driving a Williams to driving a Mercedes-Benz. It's won the last 8 Constructor World titles. It's because there's something special. So
Probably B.
I'll put him, yeah, I think B. Esteban Ocon.
B. He hasn't done really anything. He's been consistent, and
But is he as good as Fernando Alonso?
I think he's arguably done better than Fernando this
You
season.
think? I think
got
Fernando's
more
had
points.
lead,
He's
but
got
I think Fernando's had
More
worse luck.
than yeah, Fernando's got worse luck, but he's done as better. He's been more consistent than Fernando.
Okay. All right. What
Lando,
about, yeah, Lando Norris.
he's got to go to an A. I don't know if you can argue with that. After Spain with tonsillitis and carrying through that race,
I'll give you that. I'll give you A. At the same time, I think that as he gets more experience and he gets more, as he gets older, I think he's going to become a much better driver as anybody. But I just think he still makes a couple, mistakes, and I think that sometimes he hasn't had enough pressure to kind of adapt to it. We saw that last year when he kind of freaked out on the radio, when it was like, should we switch to inners and stuff? And he's just like, he just loses his mind sometimes. But
I think Checo, S.
I think Checo's, yes.
I feel like he's S.
To stand up to
Jeez.
Max Verstappen the way he's done? What do you think, Blake?
Daniel Riccardo now, F.
Well, but Blake, why is Sergio Perez? Why is he S?
Oh, he got his first ever pole position. He has been on pace with Max. Spain arguably would have won Spain if it wasn't for team orders.
That's very true. Strong
And-
driver. I mean, he's just
Although-
a minister of defense. He knows he's always a really good team driver. Although I think that team driver at the end of the year, when we look back at this, I think that may kick him down because yes, Checo's playing the team game, but at the same time, brother, it's your race. You can't just give up points. Valtteri Bottas showed us that last year, right? When Mercedes was telling him to get out of Hamilton's way, he eventually did. Or no, it was the fastest lap. When they told him, Valtteri, do not go for the fastest lap, Valtteri sets purple. And then I think he even ended up actually kind of getting fastest lap, but maybe not full push.
He said he backed off, but he still got it.
No, he still got it, but he still got it, but he backed off third sector. But that just goes to show you he was kind of giving them the middle finger because he went radio silent. He didn't say anything. So, anyways, Daniel Riccardo. I know you said F. I don't quite think he's F. I don't think he's as bad as Latifi. I mean, I think that's unfair to say. I think he's probably on the same level of like, yeah, if he could get his mind right, I think that there is a Riccardo in there we used to know. You're just somebody that I used to know. And D for Davies. So we're going to do D for Davies. Davies,
Yeah.
you're not here right now, brother, but we put him in there for you. George Russell.
S.
I mean, is this one even F?
Just-
Is this one even? Just put him in S. If you don't think he belongs up there. No, George Russell, my
Carlos
guy.
Sainz, my bad, D.
Well, hold on. You got that little premature going on there a little bit. George Russell, though, why S class? Why is George Russell ahead of Hamilton
Podiums, and beating a 7-time champion teammate,
on a consistent
with-
basis?
100 wins, and only driver not to be out of the top 5.
What about going up?
Driver-
I was just gonna say, yeah. Right. The only driver to finish in the top 5. What about being the one of the only drivers to take Max Verstappen head on in a worse performing car? Mercedes is not as fast as a Ferrari. Arguably, Carlos Sainz should have been up there fighting, Max Verstappen last week in Spain. He wasn't. He went off. There's George Russell lap after lap to the point where Red Bull literally get tired of his shit and say, you know what, fuck it, we're bringing you guys in, box. We're tired, we're going to change the strategy, we're going to undercut George. And I know Max was having some DRS problems, and you could argue some of that, but even their close battles and the way George positioned the car, you could just tell this is a kid that maybe had to drive a shit car the past couple of years, but you give him something that he can work with, and he's a master at his craft. There's just like Charles Leclerc, they won their Formula 3 career championship, Formula 2, straight to Formula 1. And then now they're both for top teams. So I think that's going to be exciting to look back on these two, along with one other special one coming up.
I think we'll be looking back at this when George Russell was champion.
Yeah, I can only hope. I'm a huge George Russell fan, but Carlos Sainz, I know you said, what did you say, D?
D.
Yeah, I got to say, I almost want to put him in C because we don't have anybody in C. I don't think, here's the thing, I almost want to say he is better than these guys for one reason. I don't think he's doing as bad as Pierre or Ricciardo. And Hulkenberg, he's just kind of here because he was on the tier list. I would argue that he's doing better. Like Carlos Sainz, he may not be Charles Leclerc's level, but he still finished fourth, guys. Like this last race, like he's still performing. He's still getting points. Daniel Ricciardo is eight positions off his teammate. You know, Carlos Sainz was at most, if Charles Leclerc would have stayed in, 4 positions off. So it's not really that.
Carlos just making stupid mistakes though. Like,
and if you
Australia, that was a stupid one. Barcelona really wasn't his fault. That was the win. Imola wasn't his fault. That was Daniel Ricciardo.
Right.
And if you hear his responses on why, he says that he's just having a really hard time driving the car, and maybe the car suits Charles Leclerc. I mean, keep in mind he's been there, and I think they kind of ousted Seb. Would you say there in his last year? And they probably went straight to developing the car around Charles. So it could be another Red Bull scenario where, you know, the car has been developed for Max, and, you know, with Max in mind for so long that any driver that's going to come in there is going to struggle. And Checo's just some kind of, again, Checo's in S-Class for a reason. He's a fucking legend. He's the only guy out of 3 guys that could jump in there and fight alongside Max and you know, give him a run for his money. You know, so let's go C, just to give somebody a C. Mick Schumacher.
E.
B?
D.
D. Okay, I was going to say B. I thought you were crazy. D, I definitely think. To the point where Gunther the other day said that no one is entitled to Formula One, I believe was a quote. Meaning that basically it doesn't matter who you are, what your pedigree is, what your last name is. Just because of that, you don't deserve a seat in F1. You're going to have to prove it. Mick is, you know, to our point, we're putting K-Mag up here in B, because he's driving the hell out of that Haas. This kid has that same car, and he's yet to score a point. We're 7 rounds in. We're going into something.
15.
Right. And jumping into a car like literally the week before it came out. This guy worked with the team all last year. So, yeah, I think you're underperforming, buddy. I think you got to step it up. Love your dad, but I think you got to step it up to stay in F1. Moving on to Strolly.
All right, I'm putting him C.
You think? You think he's having a good
Aston
year?
Martin is absolutely terrible. I mean, he's got a point. So
that's true. He has been working pretty hard.
That's a big crash.
You know, you're 100% right. That is something, you know, versus maybe Latifi or somebody that makes mistakes more often than he should. Like Lance Stroll has definitely stepped up. Yeah, you can argue that he's a pay driver. Daddy owns Aston Martin. Everybody knows it. However, that kid has continued to improve himself, and at the end of the day, he still has a super license. The FIA doesn't hand those things out like fucking, you know, Chuck E. Cheese tickets. I mean, you got to actually prove yourself and score some serious points and prove that you're a safe driver to get those. Moving on to Yuki Tsunoda.
put him in B.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, B. And I think at the end of the season, he keeps it up. I mean, who knows? Maybe he's an A. He's consistently out-qualified Pierre Gasly, which if you had asked me before the season started.
Last year.
Right, before the season started, I would have never bet that Yuki would have even. I would have said maybe one race. Maybe Pierre has an off race. He doesn't like the track, or the car wasn't balanced right for him. But this year, Yuki's just been consistently not only in quali but race pace.
I don't know if you if we go back to my preseason predictions. I said Yuki Tsunoda would be a driver to watch.
You did say that. You did. I remember you did call that out. Blake's always had a good way of kind of eyeing drivers out. He follows, Formula 2 and, you know, all these other racing series. He's too big of a racing fan. And the other day he posted on our Discord, he says He says something about like these Formula 2 drivers and
Sergeant.
Blatantly, I'm ignorant. And I sent back the Colin McGregor meme. Who the fuck is this guy? Because I had no idea who the guy he was talking about. But
he's a Floridian.
Blake's got a little bit of an eye for that. So moving on to the myth, man, legend, Sebastian Vettel.
S.
D.
Toast. What did you say?
D.
Sebastian,
You know, S and Sebastian. I think B. You know.
B? Yeah.
You think D?
I said D. He has had too many mistakes.
Yeah.
It's not like
And we still have to remember he didn't do the first 2 races.
because he had COVID.
Yes, but still
Because he had COVID.
That's very true. So we can't fault him for that.
can't do
Just
those
put him in
2.
C. Just put him in
But
C.
still, Australia spun the car out, had to retire. What was after Australia? Imola.
All right. Here's where I'll go.
Eh.
I'll give him C, because here's my justification for it. Seb is doing a lot to try to help them technically develop the car. That's why Seb's always checking out these cars, or he's always looking around them, and even the engineers and everybody said that Seb's a pleasure to work with, because he's one of those drivers that truly wants to understand how the car works technically, so that we can try to get the most of it. That being said, I think he's C trending heavily to D, because I don't know what's going on in Aston Martin right now with like this whole, like Lawrence Stroll being overbearing and all of that. But I know there's clearly something causing Seb to not have that glow that he once did. There's just like a lack of spirit from that team. It's almost like they're just in a dark cloud, like rainy thunderstorm. And I just don't think Seb truly wants to be there like he, did when he first signed the contract. I think he was glowing when he knew he was going to Aston Martin. But I think if you look at him today, I think he's kind of just putting his time in. Last 2 drivers.
Juan Yuzo, say C.
You're gonna say C?
He's had 2 engine failures last 2 races, and he got points on debut.
He did, but everybody was still trying to figure their car out. I don't know. He's really hard one to see. You know what? I'll almost give you C, because I feel bad putting him any lower or any higher, because I just don't know if we've really seen enough of him, because if this was a manufacturer tier list, honestly, man, while I like Alpha and I think they have built a competitive car, like Valtteri's getting the most. I think Valtteri's getting the most because he's a Chad. I think he's underrated because he was working up working up alongside this guy for so long. I think that Alpha has caused too many issues for us to decide where this guy goes. So I'll go with you on C. And Mr. World Title himself, whether you agree with it or disagree with it. And Davies joins us for the very last bit of it. But where do you guys think that Davies, welcome. We're making a little video here. We actually
he belongs in frickin' Z. That's where he belongs.
Who? Which one? Mr. Riccardo here?
Yes, he belongs in frickin'.
Well, we did D for Davies because he's not quite as bad as Latifi, but his head's not in the right space. But the last one, Max Verstappen. S. We can't even hear you.
Yeah, he's not doing too good this year.
Toast yelled on her headset so loud that she probably picked up on my other mic.
Yep,
but
I heard it.
S.
Would have to be S.
Yeah, that guy is the definition.
Pretty good tier list, and it's pretty symmetrical. 4 in each category except F.
Davies, now that you're here, are there any that you disagree with moving through here?
Is this just in terms of this year only?
Yes, only their performance since the start of this year.
Okay. No, I think. Yeah, if it's based off this year.
Only this year. Yep, not them as a driver, the manufacturers, or anything like that. Just how have they worked through this year?
I think. Yeah, I think. The Alpines have both been probably about evens. Magnussen, yeah. Sonoda's beat Gasly. Hulkenberg's a difficult one because
we just haven't seen him.
I can't even remember how he went. I can't even remember.
He beat Stroll in both races.
Did he really?
I think so, yeah.
He did.
He was like.
We gave Stroll a C because he's picked it up. Unlike Latifi, he came in rough and he's kind of polished a bit. He's not wrecking the car. I don't think he's DNF all year. Due to any fault of his own at least.
Can we put all the Aston Martin drivers in like a T?
No, we're not going to do that.
No, we're not.
All right. Well, hey, thank you guys. So, thank you guys, and anybody, again, like I say, if you haven't liked or subscribed, go ahead and please do that. This is our tier list. I'd love to hear in the comments how you guys' tier list was, if you guys agree with it, disagree with it, think we nailed it, think we got it all wrong, and I'd also love to know where your driver ended up, and if you thought it was fair. So you heard our judgment, our reasoning why. Give us yours. So thank you again, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful season this year, and we'll see you at the end of it. Thanks.